The text came through on Cecilia Luque's phone around 5:45 p.m. She was in a shopping mall parking lot not far from her home in Levittown, a New York suburb on Long Island. She was sitting with her boyfriend in her black Jeep Liberty, waiting for his shift at a movie theater to start. They were chatting about the New Year's Eve party they were hosting later that night. The message was from a former classmate at General Douglas MacArthur High School. Luque found it odd. They'd graduated a year and a half earlier and hadn't talked in months. She texted back, asking if she could call in 10 minutes after her boyfriend left for work. "He's gonna want to hear this too," the reply said. Luque put the call on speaker. "There's a website," the classmate said. "A weird and creepy site where someone is posting explicit photos of girls from school and writing about them being raped and murdered. There's pictures of you on it, and I wanted you to know that," she said. The phone buzzed as a link to the website came through. It had an extremely graphic internet address that is censored as it cannot be shared on YouTube. Luque started scrolling. She saw Anna, a classmate in her cheerleading uniform, and Ruby, a friend who'd sat beside her in detention. Then she saw a photo she recognized. It was her at 18 standing in a dressing room, but the swimsuit she'd been wearing in the original photo, the one she'd uploaded to social media, was gone. Someone had digitally altered the picture so it looked like she was posing completely naked. She knew the body wasn't hers, but it looked real enough that other people might think it was her. She was too stunned to speak. The next image made her gasp. It showed a printout of a photo taken when she was 5, with the chubby cheeks and ringlets she'd long since grown out of. An erect penis rested atop the photo, touching her face. The accompanying post encouraged men to ejaculate on it. "Oh my God," Luque said, choking. "I started crying really hard," she says nearly 3 years later. "You know that kind of cry where you sound like you're dying, all the heavy breathing and shaking and everything." She drove back to her boyfriend's house and called the cops. An hour later, detectives from the Nassau County Police Department were knocking on the door. She hadn't been the first to call that night. Word of the website had spread across Levittown. More than 40 girls from MacArthur High had been targeted. Some were working shifts in clothing stores or sitting at home watching New Year's Eve celebrations on TV when they opened the link to see doctored nude pictures of themselves. Others were at college parties and ran home in tears. Half a world away, unbeknown to anyone in Levittown, a former police officer named Will Wallace was investigating a possible internet sex crime in New Zealand. Wallace, who was trained to dig up evidence online and hoped to start a private investigation business, decided to look into the case. Using a reverse image search tool to find places the photos had appeared online, he was directed to that disturbing website. The site, which had been around for about a decade, featured thousands of images. Some were rudimentary, made with basic photo editing software. Others were more sophisticated, faces stitched seamlessly onto bodies engaged in sex acts, women who'd been digitally undressed. Threads posted on the site detailed violent fantasies. Some urged internet trolls to find and rape the women. Wallace found an account that had been sharing the photos. The man was later charged with blackmail, harassment, and possession of child pornography, but to Wallace's annoyance, the website remained in operation. Several states have passed their own laws over the years to try to combat the problem, but they vary in scope. Texas, Minnesota, and New York passed legislation this year criminalizing non-consensual deepfake porn, joining Virginia, Georgia, and Hawaii, who already had laws on the books. Some states, like California and Illinois, have only given victims the ability to sue perpetrators for damages in civil court, which New York and Minnesota also allow. A few other states are now considering their own legislation, including New Jersey, where a bill is currently in the works to ban deepfake porn and impose penalties, either jail time, a fine, or both, on those who spread it. This is all for today, dear viewers. Click like, subscribe, and ring that YT bell to stay up to date with the latest AI buzz.